Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing good. Now today I've got a very special guest. I'm joined by Josh, aka the True Gooner. He has been on my channel before, I've been on his channel too, and it's really good to have you back on, Josh. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Obviously, great to be back. On the channel with you, Soph. Great talking Arsenal with you, and thank you very much for having me back on. But yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Obviously, kind of miss Arsenal, international break, and I'm sure we're going to
Yeah,
get all about it right now. But with the injuries and all this, and just
yeah.
having them, we're in September and then we've got another one in October, and I think another one coming up again after that. It's just like, they always come, they're so annoying. So, but
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to obviously the weekend when Arsenal are back.
Yeah, it feels nice when Arsenal back it. These international breaks don't help us at all. I mean, you look at it as well, it's not helped us now with the injuries and the players you look at it don't really need to be playing. And obviously at the moment England do play tonight, but Saka and Rice have been okay, but they don't really need to be playing full games. And I'm going to speak on injuries first in a minute. I just wanted to say hi to everyone. Big up Ty Arsenal and big up Wookie Cookie. I've got a question for you here actually. Is there going to be an England watch along on your channel tonight?
What time's kick off? Is it 8 o'clock?
I think it's like 7:45,
Ah,
something like that.
7:45. Possibly, yeah, Jack. There possibly. I'll have to make a decision on that. But yeah, hopefully there will be, man. But yeah, big up to you, bro.
Big up, big up Victor as well. And yeah, I thought we could just have an overall chat. I mean, obviously it's the international break, and in a way, it's nice to have a little bit of a break. But we know we want Arsenal back, and we're going
Mm.
straight into North London Derby at the weekend, and it's a very tough time right now because these injuries are picking up now. I mean, I think the big one that all of us are sort of worried about is the Odegaard one because we've all accepted Rice isn't going to play, and we've sort of discussed, probably Jorginho will come back in, and we could probably do well with that. But Odegaard's out. I mean, how do you feel about that? Because it looks like he could be out for maybe a month, possibly, and it's sort of hard to replace him. I know he's not had the best game last week, but he's a very important player for us, isn't he?
Yeah, no, spot on, and it's very, very disappointing. It's a huge blow if it is serious and if it is out. And
Mm.
obviously, we know it's about to do with his ankle. He sort of got injured for Norway due to having a rolled ankle or whatever it may be. But
Yeah,
the thing that I think scared, well, yeah, the thing that I fear the most is when I saw the picture of him on the crutches. I don't know if you've
yeah,
seen that as well. And he obviously had these shoe off as well, so he's like not even leaning on his ankle properly. So I do think that he will be, obviously we ain't doctors, so we don't know how long it is, but we do think I do see him missing the game. One of the biggest games of our season. One of the biggest games where we look to it in the calendar before the season starts, and for like North London Derby, he's gonna be missing it. I definitely can see it happening because I mean, hopefully he's not out for too long, but
yeah,
this is like a common theme with Arsenal and our players, like especially going away in international breaks, they come back and they get injured, and we have so many players like this, um, at Arsenal who seem to always tend to pick up injuries. I mean, we saw it last season. No, not sorry, the season before that. Players like Jesus, Partey. I remember when Saliba got injured. In these big types of games, like I think we had to play Rob Holding that season against was it City? Yeah, when we lost 4-1 against City.
yeah,
So it's another big player, and Odegaard, captain of Arsenal, is going to be an absolute massive miss. We know how good he's probably one of our best players, so it's obviously miss him for this Tottenham game is going to be massive. But then there's the second question there is where what we're going to do now with Odegaard missing.
mm,
What's going to be the whole midfield situation now because we got rid of Smith Rowe, we got rid of Fabio Vieira, who I said Fabio Vieira for me had to go out on loan. I think it's a good move for him.
yeah,
Smith Rowe, I was like, really? I mean, I would love to keep Smith Rowe.
yeah. Me too.
I understood the situation. He's not getting enough game time at Arsenal. But now, I have to say, in my opinion, the squad depth now is becoming very, very sort of limited because is he really going to rely on a 17-year-old kid in Ethan Nwaneri to play against Tottenham?
Yeah. It's really hard because I wouldn't want to put that pressure or I feel like it would be a bit unfair started him in that midfield, because I suppose if it went wrong, then it'd be very hard on him to come back from. So it's interesting about Havertz, because I think I'd keep Havertz up top actually for
Mm,
this game, because I think as much as our midfield is going to be tough and we've not really got the best options at the moment, I think if we can take our chances, I think we can win this. I think defensively, I'm not worried. I mean, I know Calafiori as well has picked up an injury, but we have sort of seen Timber start, and I'm pretty happy with Timber at the moment. But I think with Havertz, like, would you stick him in that midfield, or would you keep him up top?
not for me. I agree with you. I would definitely keep him up top.
Mhm.
I feel like we've seen him there enough playing in that sort of midfield role, and he's we played there pre-season a few times. He looked decent, but I'm going off of what I've seen last season when Arteta played him there start of the season. For me, he was inconsistent there. As
Yeah.
soon as the guy moved to centre forward, he was actually having a lot more
Yeah.
joy playing as a centre forward, having a lot more consistent performances. I do believe that is his position. So it will not surprise me if this manager does play him in the midfield, because he's shown that he wants to do that. He did it in pre-season anyway, and I thought that little experiment was over. But it wouldn't surprise me with the depth we have now and what we're going to go with if he was to go with someone like Kai Havertz in the midfield. But then there's a few other questions as well, like
Hmm.
why don't we play? And I know it's a risk, and we shouldn't be doing it in this big game. Yeah, against Tottenham away from home. But Zinchenko, like, I've been crying out for this guy to play in the midfield. He plays there for his country, Ukraine, and he's always inverting in there. But we've never actually seen Arteta properly start the guy as a natural like midfielder where he plays there for his country. And then I've seen a lot of people say, why don't we play Timber there as well, who could play in the midfield, which I do hear where
Yeah.
people are coming from there because of how good he is going forward as well. And maybe if Calafiori's fully fit, play him left back. But this is where we're at. I think it's very limited. And as you said, it is a lot of pressure to put on a 17-year-old kid in Ethan Nwaneri, who has shown some very good signs. Yeah, he's looked really good, Nwaneri. But if he was to start, this will be his first ever start for Arsenal in obviously the Premier League, and it's against Tottenham away from home in the North London derby. He had a good pre-season, but a lot of
Yeah.
pressure when it's a must-win game as well. Considering that we dropped points against Brighton, the other week, it's a must-win game that we get back on winning ways, and we win this game against Tottenham. But this is where we're at, really.
Yeah, I don't think we should do that, but I think, bringing them on off the bench isn't a bad thing if we
Mm,
really need to change something in the game. But I'm completely with you. I don't think Arteta would stick him in there, but I mean, with Smith Rowe, like, yeah, like when we were struggling, he'd come in the team and he would change the game. So I sort of get why people are starting to have these discussions, because, and like you said, he's had a good preseason, but we know it's a big game away, and
yeah.
it's a rivalry game. It's a very competitive game, and we know we need to win this after the game at Brighton. And it's a tough one. I think I don't think we should really change too much, but I do agree with you. I've pretty much said with Zinchenko, that I think we should give him a chance in midfield, because
Mm,
Arteta's clearly gonna, he's gonna be here this season, and I think obviously the Spurs game is not probably the game to try it, but obviously we have cup games coming up. It's just very unfortunate how everything sort of happened right now with the midfield. It's all, yeah, it's pretty tough. I mean, we do have Jesus. He could potentially play. I mean, if Havertz did play in midfield, you could play Jesus, but I wouldn't really. I think we need Havertz up top, and that's what I'm worried about. And I do really feel like for me, um, with Smith Rowe obviously leaving, Vieira on loan, I never felt like we've replaced them, and that's like my biggest concern, to be honest, about it all. Because we're short at the moment in midfield, and I just feel like we've not done enough. I'm just going to read some of these. This this is all Edu's fault. He got rid of players and didn't strengthen the bench. I mean, I think that's a good point. Like, getting rid of players is good, but if you're not going to replace them, that's the problem. And I feel like we're a bit short at the moment. Do you feel like we've done good, maybe moving on players, but we've not really replaced them?
yeah, facts, 100%. I feel like look, you can't really look at Arteta and say, oh, it's his fault because of the injuries. Because look, look, it's happens in the international break. But for me, you got to look at Edu, and listen, I literally said, right, when I did my window review, that this window's not been good enough
Yeah.
because we still haven't done what's required. Like, look, we signed some decent players like Calaflori. I think
Mm.
it's a good signing.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mika Marino, someone to how good he is. Uh, Obviously, Sterling was an deadline day. That was an interesting one, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with him. Obviously, that goalkeeper, and then we got rid of Nketiah and all this, but there's still positions there where we needed to do what's required, and we didn't do that. And it's a baffling decision for me how you'd get rid of both
Mm.
of Fabio Vieira and Smith Rowe and not replace anyone and not bring anyone to replace them.
Yeah. It's so hard with Smith Rowe because do you know what? I do think it was the right thing for him to do to move on because he wasn't getting game time. He was getting a lot of injuries, and at the time in our midfield, he wouldn't really start. And like now, I think he would be perfect for this game, and we don't have him. But I think that's the problem. I think do you know Vieira going on loan? That's not a bad thing. It's just a fact we've not really got anyone else, and we would start Marino in this game, but he's obviously got an injury as well. And I think with the transfer window, I think we did good with maybe moving the players on, but we've not replaced them. And it brings us on to sort of the season as well because Sterling, we don't know what he's going to be like, and I've said in time we'll know that, but we don't really have that difference maker, and that's the problem we have. I mean, obviously I've wanted a striker, but maybe someone that could just come in and help us win those games. And that's the thing with Spurs because defensively, I absolutely feel fine. Raya's had a great start to the season, but do you feel like that might be our problem against Spurs, having that, that killer, that player that can just be clinical? Because we know with Martinelli, he's obviously, we do need him to step up a bit now. It's a big game at the weekend, and I just feel like
Mm.
Saka can score, he's good. Havertz can score too, but we also see him missing chances, and I just feel a bit not sure if we're going to take our chances at the weekend.
Yeah, I think this is a very good point, and I feel like that's one of the things that we're missing as well. Is sort of that game changer.
Yeah.
Um, I think we really had that type of player in quite a while. That's about that type of game changer player. Look, don't get me. I mean, look, we've got Saka who can do the business. He always does it in these derbies. Havertz has started the season, scored a
Yeah.
few goals, ended the season well, playing as a centre forward. But he has, I think he's shown last season he has games where he's been inconsistent as well.
Mm.
Playing in that
Yeah.
position, so he's got to be on it. And obviously, yeah, Gabriel Martinelli is lacking in confidence for me.
Mm.
We're seeing a decline in this guy. In the past couple of seasons, and I think it is a confidence issue with Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah.
He's not looking like the same player that he was. As I said, I mean, hopeful with the left back coming in, that will help him out a bit more. With the left eight coming in, that helping out a bit more. But this guy needs to step up as well because I was very tempted to play our new signing in over Martinelli. Someone like Raheem Sterling to give this guy a go on the left hand side because Martinelli's not been cutting it, and the truth is the truth. The guy has not been at his best whatsoever.
Mm.
Trossard, came off against Aston Villa. He looked very, very good. Obviously got the goal, but again, even him, Trossard,
Mm.
Trossard got the start, I don't really think he impressed too much against Brighton either.
Mm.
So that's why I'd be tempted to, play someone like Raheem Sterling. It sounds crazy, and again, with Sterling, he wasn't my first choice to come in as a winner. I think there's other options out there that we could have got. We missed out on a few at the start of the window. They went elsewhere, and also we need that striker there as well. So I do think, look, the way how Tottenham play, they will obviously get chances. Yeah, I mean, even last season, if you go back to last season, they actually had some good chances against
Mm.
us, but we, had we 3-0 up because we was clinical, and
Yeah.
that's what we've got to do again. Against these because the way how they play, they play a Postecoglou who's got a good style where we know he likes to attack. They're very good offensively, but they also leave gaps and that's what we exploited last season. They had chances against us last season, but we took our chances and they didn't. And in the end, I know
Yeah.
second half, we almost bottled it, like it was 3-2, but we battered them, 3-0 up, and it's all about seeing the game out last season, and we did in the end. But I think it's gonna be very similar to this season. But yeah, I 100%, agree with you there.
Yeah, it's just, against Brighton as well is a good example. Because they're very good sides, and I think getting a point, it's not what we need right now, but I think we've still got to take them positives going into the game. But against Brighton, the first 20 minutes, I thought we were absolutely amazing. We had all the possession, we were just doing really good things, but we couldn't take our chances. We scored, but then it's very frustrating because that's how teams get back in the game. If you're not going to take your chances, you're not going to win, and that's obviously the problem we've got now. But to be fair with Martinelli, I think as someone mentioned before, Trossard's a great substitute, and I think if we're struggling to score, he's that player you'd want to bring on. And it's weird he plays the full game and he's not able to make that sort of impact. So I think Martinelli we know has the pace, and I think we just need the goals from him. He's not really doing anything bad. It's just he's not able to finish those chances. But like you said, Sterling, do you know what? If Arteta played him at the weekend, I wouldn't complain. Do you know what? It's good to make those decisions and be bold. I mean, Sterling does have experience. I know his end product is something that I'm a little bit worried about with Sterling, and he's not really played much recently, especially at Chelsea. But yeah, it's definitely a tough one. The game coming up is obviously a very difficult one. Big up Thomasin. We'll lose the game 2-1. I hope not. Big up Anthony. Hello Geordie as well. Good to see you in the chat. Big up Thai Arsenal fan. Hey Paul, good to see you in here. Yeah, Martinelli, it's a tough one. Do you feel like he's played good but he's not able to take his chances, or do you feel like his overall play hasn't been good?
Yeah, it's such a tough one with this player, man, because I do see him as like a fan favorite. I know many people,
Mm,
like this guy, and when he first came in, nobody knew the guy. We signed him from the second division of Brazil, and everyone was like, "Who's this guy?" And he came in, burst onto the scene, and looked absolutely phenomenal. Um, and in that season when we was first in the title race as well,
mm.
he was fantastic for us. But
Yeah,
I've seen, in my opinion, I've seen a decline in this player. As I said, I think it's just the guy's lacking for me. He's becoming too predictable when he
mm,
gets in the final third. And as you said, like, because I watched it even in preseason, I watched him against Leon, right? And the guy was, getting in he gets in so many great positions, but he just overthinks it in the final third for me. Either takes too many
yeah,
touches or has poor sort of decision making. So it's not necessarily like, as you said, I think he's showing good signs in terms of the way how he can get in these positions and how he can create the chances. But it's all about being times he's too predictable and times he overthinks it, and it takes too many touches in the final third, for example. I've seen that in majority of the games. So as I said, I think having competition there as well with Sterling coming in, and obviously Trossard, we saw what it was like for him. Arteta played Trossard against Brighton because of Martinelli, and that should give him a little wake up call to reality that there's competition there now. It's the same with Sterling coming in; he can play on the left, he can play on the right. And I hope with the left back as well, someone, because again, I don't think it helped Martinelli last season with the left back changing week in week out. Zinchenko, Kiwi, or Tomiyasu, whoever it was, I don't think that helped the guy. And if you look on the other side with Saka, you've got Ben White who overlaps
mm,
Saka. Ben White who can whip a cross in, but Ben White gives Saka that support as well. I don't
yeah,
really see that on the left hand side with our left back, but I think with players like Timber coming in or Calafiori can play there, that should help. And obviously with this number 8 coming in Mikel Marino when he is back in October, I think we saw the best when we had Martinelli, when we had someone like Granit Xhaka there in that season. And, look what happened to Martinelli there. He thrived off of having that. So I think that, that left side has been sort of needs improvement. And we have done that in the window in terms of that left back situation. But I feel where Martinelli stands him as well. He's got
yeah.
confidence got to improve. He's got to become unpredictable as well. And, just I really hope, because I don't like last season he was very, very poor. Let's not get twisted. And this season for me is for him is make or break. In my
Yeah.
You know, he's got to step up this season. Otherwise, we're looking at it thinking question marks over his name on what to do with him if he has two poor seasons in a row.
Yeah, I mean, towards like the end of the season, he was quite poor, wasn't he? I mean, he started off actually good, and then he's picked up injuries, and it's sort of gone downhill from there. And the season started, and it's so hard because we know there's a very talented player in him, but I suppose now is he the player that can really take us to that next level? Is he gonna improve this team because we do need goals from him. I mean, we speak about Havertz having goals we want from him, Saka, but we also need that contribution from Martinelli as well. And it's so tough because he's a very good player. You can see he really gets on with the fans amazingly, but it's so tough. And you know, this is actually a good point, and I know a lot of people are starting to notice this about he's looking down, he's not really looking up, and I think that's something that he needs to improve on. And I think going to the game, he's got to definitely improve at the weekend. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to sort of see the lineup in our attacking, front who's going to start. I wouldn't mind if Martinelli starts and see how it goes because I really hope that can help with his confidence. If he gets a goal, that'll definitely help him. And I just wanted to actually just speak a bit about the moment. Obviously, there's injuries up, and a lot of fans aren't really happy with the transfer window. And I wanted just to get your thoughts on like the reaction because for me, I do agree. The transfer window, I think for me it's been a bit underwhelming, a bit disappointing. Obviously, the players that have came in, we know will be good players. They're very talented, but on the other hand, we look at it and think we should have brought more in, and now we're seeing that. Do you feel like, obviously, with not winning against Brighton, fans are even more disappointed? Do you feel like the reaction from sort of the fan base at the moment is understandable? Do you feel like fans are overreacting? Like, what is your thoughts on everything at the moment?
For me, as I said, when I did my review, I gave it I think a 5 out of 10. Yeah,
Yeah,
a 5 out of 10 for me because we haven't done what's required yet again. You know, and this has been a common theme with Arsenal over these windows where we haven't done what's required. And at the end of the day, as I said, I think Calafiori coming in to start with improve the defense. You know, yeah, we had the best defense in the league last season. You know, and we've only improved that by bringing in a player who can play left back, centre back, versatile. You know, is very very good going forward defensively as well. Very good playing Ricardo Calafiori. You know,
yeah,
him coming in improved the defense even more, which is great to see. And obviously that midfielder that we needed, that natural aid that we needed, we brought him in. Time will tell how good he is. And then that was, I mean, and then that deadline day signing of Sterling. Like, you know,
mm,
there was other opportunities, other winners out there that for me we could have gone and got. You know, I would have loved Elise before he went to Bayern Munich. We could have got him
yeah,
to start, we could have got him at the start of the window. You know, someone like, I mean, I still would have loved Mohamed Kudus. You know, who's now at
yeah,
West Ham. But I think that guy is a quality player, and we let him go to West Ham in that summer. And obviously that big striker for me, you know, that main striker that we needed. We obviously didn't go and get. You know, we got rid of Eddie Nketiah, which for fair play, you know, the guy had to
yeah,
go, and I was like,
yeah,
what? Yeah, you got rid of him, but you've not replaced him. We know how injury prone Jesus is. You know, he was out with another injury yet again at the start of the season. And obviously Havertz, he's been playing there, but you split all on Havertz. You need something else there. You need something different. You need that other option there. I think that
yeah,
that showed multiple times last season. What was us fans saying after the game against West Ham? We had 30 shots after the game against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, Villa. You know, all these games. Yeah, you know, everyone was talking about, oh, we're creating chances. You know, we have 30 shots against West Ham, but we didn't. Same in what we had so many shots against Liverpool in the FA Cup, and we lost 2-0 that game. And everyone was saying, oh, we was lacking the striker. So, you know, we would have, for me, we should have signed that striker, even if it was someone like Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon, who was available for about around 65 million. And I don't understand why we didn't go for one. I mean, the money was there. You know, we sold
yeah,
players. We sold in Nketiah for around over 30 million. We sold Smith Rowe to Fulham for, you know, for 30 million. We sold Ramsdale for 20 million. We had the money there. You know, there's strikers there. You know, Gyökeres was there. Ivan Tony. I still would have loved the Arsenal.
yeah,
We could have got it for around 40 million. In the end, he's gone to Saudi. So I was very disappointed that we didn't get a striker in. I was disappointed that obviously uh, we haven't really replaced in terms of. I think we need another midfielder because now we've seen what
Yeah.
happens. Odegaard gets injured, and I was thinking, why did we get rid of Smith Rowe and Vieira? I would have got rid of one of them and kept the other one personally. I think it's a good line for Vieira, as you said as well. But overall, I hear where people are coming from, and I'm with them. Like the window's been poor. It's been
Yeah.
5 out of 10, and once again, we haven't done what's required.
It's so like disappointing because last season I think was probably our best season. Like even the season before that, I think that the one we've just had, we've gotten so much closer, and I think the football we played was better as well. And the season ended, and you think to yourself, going into the summer, if we just buy a few more players, the right type of players in the positions, we can actually win the league. Like we can do it. I know it's going to be hard with Man City, with Haaland, and all of the challenges that we'll face, but it's almost like we've not really strengthened in the positions that are the priority. Like, don't get me wrong, Calaflori, I'm excited to see him, and we know the left back position has been one that's been a bit of a struggle. But I just honestly feel like the striker one, it has should have been the priority at the first on this, and then maybe the midfield you could speak about as well. Um, but it's even though years ago there would be more options, but there are still options you can pick. I mean, if Arteta and Edu don't want Isaac, like I said, there's Ivan Tony. There's like so many other players in different leagues that you could look at, and even if they're not great, you could at least say he's actually trying to bring something new. He's trying to bring an attacker in the team to help. Like you said, Martinelli. No one really knew much about him. He's come and he's done pretty good. And though this season he struggled, so it's so frustrating the fact that we're not really looking at that striker position. Like, do you think with the striker position with Arteta and Edu, do you feel like they look at it and think it's not a priority, they don't have the money, or do you just what are your thoughts on that? Because for a long time for me, it's obvious that we need a striker. Like Nketiah is gone, we knew he
Mhm.
couldn't really take us to that next level with Jesus either. Obviously, Havertz is good, but I don't think he could, elevate this team right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's just as you said, we've needed a striker. I think honestly, like since Aubameyang, really,
Yeah, left.
we
Yeah,
needed. Yeah,
definitely.
since Aubameyang, we needed that striker really because look, let's be honest with you, Gabriel Jesus coming in, I thought it's a good signing because I do rate Jesus as a player, but
Mhm.
the guy scored 15 goals and that's the highest he's ever scored and that's the highest goal tally he's ever got to in his career is 15 goals. So he's not that clinical sort of out and out goal scorer that I think we've been lacking. Aubameyang was, and since then we haven't really replaced Aubameyang with a natural, sort of goal scorer. Jesus has struggled with the injuries, but it doesn't mean I don't think he's a bad player. But he's not a clinical goal scorer. Let's put it out there. The guy's got
Yeah.
50 goals and that's his highest he ever got to, right? And obviously he's tried. Obviously Havertz coming there. Havertz is doing well there, but
Mm.
you know, time will tell if if that guy is the man. And at the
Yeah.
moment, he's showing good side. He's shown so he's completely proved me wrong when we signed him. I was completely criticised the signing. But he looked good in games there. But also, he had other games last season where he looked inconsistent. So I wouldn't, he's a good player there. Centre forward. I think that is his best position for him at Arsenal instead of
Yeah.
in that midfield position personally. But yeah, I just feel we haven't really replaced that striker since having a Bamian really, and it's
Yeah.
really confusing why we haven't. Because I just think that's sort of been the missing piece
Mhm.
to this puzzle of beating Man City is having that clinical goal scorer there for sure. So I think Edu and Arteta looking. I mean, if you remember, go back to the start of the window, they was looking at Sesko, weren't they? That was
Yeah.
the big one they was looking at. A more younger striker, who's obviously at RB Leipzig, and instead he decided to stay at RB Leipzig. But then after that, it was talk a little bit about Isak talk, but then that was out the question due to the price tag. But then other than that, the whole striker talk was dead really. There's a few rumors about Jokeres here and there. Nothing really went for that. Um, a few rumors about Victor Osimhen, whether he was going to go to Chelsea or comes to the Premier League, but again, that died down. Tony, there was nothing in that apparently as well. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how, they're looking at it this way, thinking, I generally think Arteta is happy with Havertz down the middle. Like, I think we need a striker, but I'm looking at it in Arteta's point of view because it's been
Yeah.
a while now and we're not even replaced Aubameyang, if being honest with it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this season it'll be interesting, like you said, with Havertz because I really like him, and you can see he's got so much confidence, and I do really hope he can get 15 to 20 goals. I mean, 20 goals would be amazing. I think we could possibly win the league with that if other players around the team are going to score like that as well. But yeah, it's really interesting. Aubameyang left, and that happened, and no one really ever sort of came in. I know Jesus is. I feel like at the moment, if he comes on, like I don't know what to expect from him. I mean, he can be a very good player off the ball as well, but we know him himself can't really provide, those type of goals we need. I mean, I wouldn't ever expect to have someone like Holland because I know Holland is a very special player. He's out of this world, and defensively, I think we're quite lucky to be able to compete with that. But I think having that striker is something that we've needed for a while, and it's just a bit for me confusing that we've not addressed that. But like you said, in Arteta's mind, you might think I brought Havertz in, he's going to be the main guy. But Havertz has scored a lot, but he's not really being that out and out striker that we need. And I know last season Arteta sort of put him in midfield and was trying to figure out the right position. And maybe now that he's figured out the right position, we might see the best of Havertz. I really do hope. For a good season. Just want to say hi to Luca. Good to see you in here. Vieira injured, not surprised. How many injuries is going to happen now because it's ridiculous. Odegaard 3 to 4 weeks. Smith Rowe soft. No striker for me. We finished. Sorry, Sophie negatives. Honestly, it's not negative. It's just It's your opinion, and honestly, I don't feel happy right now. It feels quite frustrating at the moment, especially with those injuries. And do you know what I'm worried about is that we've got Man City coming up. I know we've got Atlanta, but the Man City game, I'm just thinking, how would we sort of manage without Odegaard? Like, who do you think at the moment is sort of the strongest player you could put in that position? Because it's a very tough one with the players we have, and I think with Partey, like I feel like he could just get injured any moment. So I
Mm,
don't know who I'd really put in that position. What would you pick?
yeah, this is what I'm saying as well. Really, like, I think the midfield for me, the best we can go with, in my opinion,
Mm,
is Party in there with Jorginho,
yeah,
and then it's gonna. Then this is where, like, who's actually gonna come in? Is he really gonna play Nwaneri? Is he, as we said before? I don't see him
yeah,
putting all this pressure on Nwaneri to come in and have his first start. Like, off the bench, maybe. Yeah, I'm down for Nwaneri to come off the bench, but to start
yeah,
the guy in these big games, again, we don't know how long Odegaard could be out for quite a few weeks. So, could he, play him? I don't see that happening. It wouldn't surprise me if he does, if he brings Havertz into there. If he brings
mm,
Havertz back into the midfield and plays someone like Trossard down the middle, like we've seen before, whether Jesus is back in time, if he puts him back up front. Um, and or it's going to be, or what I suggested before, which is can be risk, but
mm,
Zinchenko in the midfield or
yeah,
Timber, one of those two, can to see if that works there. But this is where we're at. Literally, Odegaard's injured, and now we're gonna have to. Now we're debating whether to start a 17-year-old kid in these next big games against City. This is where we're at, and also certain players who are taking them out of position. Havertz, we know,
yeah,
his best position clearly is centre forward for Arsenal, but let's bring him back to the midfield. This is where we're at because we didn't, obviously, as we mentioned before, with Smith Rowe leaving, getting rid of
yeah,
Vieira, we never replaced, those there. So obviously for that Rice, only for obviously one game because he's back for the
yeah,
Champions League and City game, but for this Tottenham game, it's like, what we actually going to do in the midfield. It'll probably be Partey, Jorginho, but then
yeah,
Rice is out, Mika Marino's out, Odegaard's out now, so it's either now wary or bringing Havertz back in there, or it's playing Zinchenko in the midfield for this Tottenham game. So yeah, honestly, it's spineless in the midfield at the moment. It's not looking.
yeah. I do agree. Like I think Partey Jorginho. I think I think we can manage that. But obviously, Rice will be back for the next few games
Yeah,
and for the rest, hopefully. So I think, when Rice is in there, you sort of feel more comfortable. But I
yeah, for
think
sure.
replacing Odegaard, it's a very tough one because, listen, I know he's not really been scoring many goals, but I think his overall play really helps the team, and I think no other player can really do what he does. So that one is going to be tough, but I think the team know that we're facing these injuries and we've got to win it against Spurs, and I know we got so close last season, so I think we need to be at our best, and I know they'll know that. I wouldn't honestly mind Zinchenko being in midfield. I just think the only time that I'd worry is, I suppose, if he's left in a position if he loses the ball, and then that affects us.
Yeah,
Because I know defensively he's not very good, and that's when he struggles. But in the attacking sense, I do see some positives, and I think that could work. Like you said, Timber possibly try that. Because I don't know how long Calafiori's out for. And it's really weird as well because Tierney's actually still part of Arsenal now. He's not really gone. And I know he's injured so much, so it's honestly going to be interesting, actually, the actual lineup to see who will actually play. And I just wanted to actually get your thoughts on Rice because obviously someone's not happy with their performance, and I think Rice admitted himself after the England game, after he did well and scored, that he's not really felt himself since sort of playing in Euros and playing that a lot of football. Do you feel like this is sort of down to just playing a lot in the Euros, his exhaustion? Do you just think he, in time, is going to obviously get better after his red card? He's going to come
mm.
back, and do you expect him to sort of be how he was last season?
Yeah, I think he'll definitely, come back and improve. But I do agree. He's certainly not been at his best. This season in all our games, really.
Yeah.
If we're being honest with it, and I've been crying out for him to play in that more
Mm.
advanced position. And dropping Party back in there. Um, and to play Rice more advanced because I saw it last season. I really like the three in the midfield of Odegaard, Rice, and Partey, and I really like to see I really like to see Rice play more. That left eight, that attacking
Yeah.
role, get him in more advanced positions. But the start of the season, to be honest with it, he's not been at his best whatsoever. He hasn't. So yeah, I think it's a good point. Obviously, Euros as well was not great. For England. But I watched him when they played against Ireland. He was back in the six, and he looks like he had a great game. I know it's only friendlies and Nations
Yeah.
League and stuff, but I've got a feeling as soon as someone like when he does come back, we'll probably stick with it. We'll stick with him in the eight. But when someone like Mika Marino comes in, when he's back from his injury and he comes in eight, we put Rice back to the six.
Yeah.
uh, then I think possibly we could see the best of him because as much I've been crying out for him to play number eight because I've really enjoyed seeing him there last
Yeah.
season, against Chelsea, against Tottenham away. Just him getting more advanced, getting more goals, creating more chances. I think he's had a poor start of the season, but obviously this is like so early days,
Yeah.
start of the season. So I think he'll, of course, improve. And how good he was last season, we definitely sitting there, 100
Yeah.
million well spent last season, the way how he played. So I don't think we should worry about Rice just yet, personally.
Yeah, I think he's had last season. I think he actually did better than what I thought. I mean, I watched him a lot of West Ham for England, and he was always a player that you'd love to watch. He was, yeah, and I just think him being at Arsenal, I suppose, being around those type of level players at the best, has obviously improved him as well. But I think people have to understand that he's played so much football, and especially losing the Euros mentally, it's been hard for him. Saka as well. And I think, now that he's had a good game for England, he scored, he's probably got a bit more confidence now. And maybe looking at this, having a bit of a break might not be a bad thing. So yeah, I do expect him to sort of be a little bit better. I think people need to understand that he's obviously played a lot of football, and Lucas actually said Saka and Rice are playing tonight, which is a bit annoying. I mean, the problem is now with Saka, he's a player you don't want to get injured. I mean, we have Sterling that you could, rotate. But how do you sort of feel about a lot of the Arsenal players starting in the international break? Do you feel like obviously as Arsenal fans, we want them to do well internationally,
Yeah.
but I know it's not too serious, and you just sort of think, oh, why can't these players maybe come off the bench, play maybe 30 minutes instead of playing like a full game?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's literally it's frustrating. I'll be honest. Like as you said, look, I want to see Arsenal players play internationally, do well for their
Yeah,
countries, but you know what happens? It wouldn't be an international break if
don't worry, guys. You'll probably come back as internet does kind of cut out. But yeah, don't worry.
I'm back.
Yes, you're back. Don't worry.
Ah,
Yeah.
frozen again, man. Frozen again.
No, no, carry
But
on. Don't worry.
yeah, as I was saying, like it wouldn't be an international break if
Mm,
Arsenal player they get injured, and it happens like every single international break, every single time. I don't understand why players like Saka have got to play this game on the right hand side against Finland, Nations League League B. Yeah, even if
yeah,
England win the group, there's no trophy to be won. It's like you're getting promoted. So it's just like these pointless friendlies, like these new competitions, like qualifiers. It's disappointing because this is what happens.
yeah,
Yeah, and to be honest, like if you look at Man City, players dropped out. From City in international level as well. Teams can do it where the players drop out and apparently they're injured. Well, they're not. We know what it's all
yeah,
mind games there. So part of me wants that to happen really with some of our key players. As much as I think it's great to represent your country and it's good to see them do well, injuries happen all the time, and where we're at right now with our squad, we cannot afford to have Saka missing. We cannot afford
yeah.
to have these players missing. So yeah, I think it's very frustrating.
I mean, it's a good point, like why we don't ever do that. Because I mean, when it's like a qualifier and you've got to really play, I think that's completely different because you want to qualify, for the big competitions. But at the moment, it's nice, obviously, to watch your international team play, but it's not for much. And I think as well, like, I don't know if Arteta should really be saying that, at the moment, I want these players to stay here, train, and not really play because, like you said, it's not really for anything important. And I know Saka and Rice will love to play for England, but I think when it's really important games, or they should maybe say themselves, I love playing for England, but I need a bit of a break. I'm happy to come on a bit later on. It's because it puts us really in a bad position. Like a good point here from Vic that Arsenal need to start pulling out their players. Exactly, these games don't feel important, and I'm really just hoping tonight everything goes okay because I don't think I can cope with another injury. I think Saka's obviously the one that you look at as well because I think he's probably with Trossard one of our most clinical players and with
Mhm.
Havertz as well. And I just think if anything goes wrong, like I know Sterling I suppose could play there, but a left hand side as well is a weakness, and it's very tough, definitely. And I wanted just to ask you actually, obviously, a bit about the league because I know at the moment we've had an okay start. I think we've not lost. It's not all doom and gloom, but we do
Yeah.
always go back to the transfer window because it does have a big part to play. Um, how confident would you say at the moment you are about us winning the league? Because at this moment in time, we're not in a great position. I think Man City and Liverpool do actually look a bit stronger than us. And I suppose injuries picking up, it's so hard to kind of judge. I mean, I want to be confident, but I just don't know if we're going to do it this season. And it's so frustrating because I suppose if we don't do it, it's another season that goes by and we've not able to kind of win the league. It's feels quite tough at the moment.
Yeah, it's such a tough one, this league title, man, because listen, it's gonna be if we don't win it this season, it's gonna be what, like 21 years, without the league title. So and we're seeing how close we're becoming, last season.
Yeah,
We literally had one of our best seasons, like, had the best defense in the Premier League, kept the most clean sheets, had one of the highest points tallies, had one of the highest wins in the Premier League, and we still didn't win it. We came out second place with nothing.
yeah,
But I always said for me, like to win the league this season, it comes down to doing the business in the window. It comes down to getting the players in to do what's required to get us over to that next level. And I don't think we haven't done that. The window's been poor. And yeah, I know we've got another window coming up in January to obviously see what happens. But we go back to last
Yeah.
season. I don't even think we signed a player in January, did we? We last season we signed no one in January, so
No, I don't think so.
we didn't. Yeah, like so. I'm not going to put all hope in January windows because anyway, you don't really see too many big deals happen in January too often, really, especially
Mm,
with Arsenal. So listen, we still like the summer window was a big one for me where we needed to buy the new striker in. Um, and we didn't do that, you know. And listen, I think we've got a very good sort of defense. I think that's shown last season. We've added to that. Um, I just fear about you know going getting over this line. Are we going to get over the line this season? Where last season I think we was lacking that striker, as we all mentioned, but not just that. I
yeah.
feel like mentality as well. Listen, like for me, it's this season. Arsenal Football Club needs to finish the season with a trophy.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. We cannot go another season without winning nothing. Yeah. Listen, if you can't win this Premier League, yeah, at least go and take the other competitions seriously.
Yeah.
Like for example,
You'll probably be back in a minute, don't worry. Good to see you've been preparing for the Northern Derby by having Saka and Odegaard. Yeah, exactly. Hi, are you okay? You went off again, don't worry.
McDonald's Wi-Fi back again, guys. Yeah, frozen again. Ole, ole. What's going on, man?
Carry on. I
Bro,
forgot what. Yeah, just
apologies, guys.
it's alright. Just
Um,
carry on where you left off.
yeah, what was obviously like the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. Like,
Yeah,
how many times have we been like knocked out in the early rounds because we've not, gone for these cups and gone for these trophies? It really does frustrate me because I'd happily take a League Cup. Listen, it's not the
yeah,
be all end all. Yeah, we want the Champions League, we want the league, and we need to push towards that. But you have to go and win a trophy. It's been 5 seasons now without no trophy since he last won the FA Cup. So
yeah. It's crazy because I mean, last season, if you said to me, we'd finish a few points behind Man City and we'd win, a League Cup, I'd tell you I'd rather win the league, but I would still take that trophy as
exactly,
well as having a good season. I mean, no, not everyone loves those type of trophies, but I mean, I love an FA Cup. I think they're very special, and obviously, we know as Arsenal fans, we see the progress we've made, but I feel like at the end of the season, it's sort of about which teams have won the most, which teams have been successful. And we know we've had a successful, we know as a season we were quite good. I mean, look at United last season. They didn't have a great season in the league, but they had the success. And you look at Arsenal, and we've had a better season in the league, but they've
yeah,
had the success. So it's a very tough one. And I honestly think we're good enough to win the FA Cup. I just think at the moment, obviously as well, the sort of injuries you start to pick up, that everything always keeps going back to the window, because if we obviously at the moment, I think you could afford to make a few changes in this team, but it's so tough now because we're sort of left short again, and we say this all the time, we're not really
yeah,
prepared enough, and it's getting quite frustrating. Big up AFC always. This is what happens when you don't have a proper transfer window. Your squad isn't equipped to deal with the injuries. Exactly. And I think the suspension is probably caught us at a bad time, especially with all the injuries. But I don't feel like we've been prepared enough, and that's what I'm honestly worried about. Ricky Cooker said, once Madrid move on from Rudiger, they'll come. Yeah, for Saliba, we need to win stuff. Definitely. Does that ever worry you? Like, say the season goes by, we don't win anything. Like, I suppose the players, the likes of Saliba, Rice potentially in the future, Saka might be thinking about moving away to clubs that have more success than us.
100%. Because I've seen it in the past before, like
Mm.
Alexis
Yeah,
Sanchez. Literally, I know. Look, I know he went Man United over Man City for the money, but he ultimately wanted more. He wanted to win the Premier League. He wanted to win the Champions League. Van Persie did it.
yeah,
Left Arsenal, went on to win big things. I've seen it. I think I saw there's so many few other players who eventually move on from Arsenal because they want to go and do bigger stuff. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we can see the same happen for William Saliba because we
yeah,
don't see trophies coming. It's like Real Madrid will come calling.
yeah. He'll be back again. Don't worry, guys. His internet sometimes goes off. But yeah, don't worry, guys. He'll be back on in a sec. Yeah, I don't think Havertz. I think people need to respect Havertz a bit more in the comments. Don't worry, guys. I'll just keep talking until he comes back. I'll probably end this in about 10-15 minutes anyway. So, yeah, don't worry. He'll be back soon. If you guys want to send in any questions, to answer as well, we'll do that as well. I hope you're all enjoying this show as well. Don't forget to like this video if you can. Do subscribe to Josh's channel as well, True Gooner. He'll probably come back on, and don't worry about it. Big up YNWA, good to see you as well in the chat. Hope you're good. Big up to all of you as well that have been tuning in tonight. It's been good. I just check if Josh is coming back in. Don't worry about it. Yeah, guys, don't worry about it at all. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to be watching the England game tonight, and fingers crossed Saka and Rice do not pick up any injuries, because I don't think we can deal with any more injuries, honestly. Don't worry, Josh is back. You're right.
Oh my, yo,
Don't worry.
my whole laptop decided just to crash on me, and then it's just completely crashed. So I'm on my phone, guys. I'm so sorry, man.
Don't worry, honestly. I actually forgot what we were talking about.
Saliba leaving, wasn't it? About
oh yeah.
Yeah, if obviously Saliba was like, if we don't start winning trophies, these players start to leave, and yeah, I have to agree, like, with Saliba, like, the guy, it will come to a stage where Real Madrid will come calling. We've seen a few rumors about that already. 9 times out of 10, Madrid do get what they want, and ultimately, like, there's in for players like, well, other big teams are in play for players like Van Dijk before. But Van Dijk stayed because Liverpool, he won the Premier League with Liverpool, won the Champions League with Liverpool. So that's what we've got to be doing, is we've got to be aiming and winning these trophies, because I've seen so many players move on and ultimately win stuff elsewhere from Arsenal, because we haven't, won anything big. So they move on and they want to win Premier Leagues and all this, and that's what they do. I've seen it on multiple occasions at Arsenal. So it's very important that, we get back on that winning stage and, winning these trophies. Otherwise, Saliba, Saka, they've been here for many, many years. They've been fantastic players, but they'll get to a stage where they want to move on to and win stuff. And we need to do that at Arsenal. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you made a good point before about Sanchez, because, like, I think we all knew at the time he was going to leave, and I think a lot of us didn't blame him, because we weren't really ever going to win a league. We weren't really at that stage, and obviously, I think with Saka, he has sort of the loyalty. I think with Smith Rowe, like, I always think he loved Arsenal, but I think if he had the choice, he probably would have stayed. But I think he really thought about his career and knew he wouldn't probably get a lot of football. But I think it's a conversation that's good to have, because I suppose in the future you just don't know what's really going to happen. With sort of like Madrid, like you said, Madrid are very successful in the Champions League. They've got an amazing record and they've got a great history, and obviously people want to buy players. I mean, you saw Saudi looking for Trossard. Like, these things will come up if we're not really going to start winning things. So I completely agree with you. I think that this season, obviously the league for me is probably my number one. I'd love us to win it. For you, like, would you rather win the Champions League or the league? Because I know at the moment we're probably more likely to win the league than the Champions League. But if you had to pick, what is your preference?
Good question. It's a good question. I mean, as you said, more realistically, more likely, I think Premier League. I think, we've came so close in, doing that in the past couple of seasons. We've came up, you just fell short towards the end. Certain games we can talk about, like why we fall short. But I feel when it comes to Champions League, you have to have the mentality to win the whole thing. And I don't think, it's shown over years and years. And our Arsenal in Europe, it's just been very, very poor. Yeah, I mean, even last time we got to that final was 06 Champions League-wise against Barca. But, even in Europa League, I mean, we've been poor in Europa League, when we was in that. Even when we had Emery, got to the final, we got battered by Chelsea 4-1 in the final. And in Champions League, I mean, we saw the last season in Champions League, our first time back in there for ages. We got to the quarterfinals, But when it came up to a team against Bayern Munich, who has the mentality of winning Champions Leagues in the past, that's a massive club. Look what happened to us. So I feel like Champions League, you have to have the mentality, because we have to go there and beat the best. If we were to win the whole thing, you had to go and beat Real Madrid. And do you really see us beating Real Madrid at this current state where we're at? I don't think so. So I think what I would prefer is, I'd actually prefer the Champions League to win, because it's the first one we've ever won in history, and everyone can stop talking to us about where's your Champions League anymore, because then say here's our Champions League. So everyone, that's what people say about Arsenal, is like, oh, but where's your UCLs? Yeah. So like, if we win one of them, we can shut all those rival fans up. Like, we've got the Champions League, so I would really want to win that, because no one in history. But also the fact Premier League, we've got to kill this drought. 20 years now, around that, since we last won the Premier League title. But the one I'd like to prefer, Champions League for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough, because like we said, I think this season we're not really ready to win it, especially if we're coming up against Madrid. But in time, we definitely can do it. I think the league, we're so close to doing that, and that's why I want to do it. But there's something about the Champions League that's so special, winning that. I think they're both hard in different ways. Like, the Premier League's more long, but the Champions League is more tougher teams, I think, to come up against. So I think it's going to be interesting how we sort of do in both competitions throughout the season. But thank you so much for coming on my channel today. Before we do wrap up the show, do you want to just tell people where they can find you on social media, on YouTube as well?
Yeah, sure. First, I just want to say thank you so much. Obviously, you've had me back on the channel, so really enjoyed it today, and it's always great to talk with you about Arsenal, and keep up the great work on your channel as well. I've been watching all the videos. You get some fantastic guests on there as well. So yeah, keep smashing it. And anyone watching this new, make sure you guys subscribe to Sofa as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, and also guys, let me just say sorry about my Wi-Fi and all that stuff, man. It's just
don't worry.
That's absolute disgrace. But yeah, apologies about that, guys. But yeah, you guys can find me obviously True Gooner everywhere on social media. I'm on the road to 10,000 subscribers, on the road to obviously 10K. So if you are, we would greatly appreciate anyone could go over there and give me a sub. I do daily content, Arsenal content, everything to do with Arsenal, guys, pretty much. So come over there if you want to, talk about Arsenal. I'm there every single day. And yeah, as I said, thank you very much. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, I mean, let's hope this season, we can have smiles on our faces. We can finally have the Premier League title. And yeah, thank you very much.
Oh no, I'm really happy to have you on here today. I've really enjoyed it, and please do as well. Those watching, like you said, check out your channel. You're so close to 10K, so please do drop Josh a subscribe as well. A big thank you to all of you as well for joining in, for commenting, asking us questions. It's been super fun to do this. Fingers crossed we'll have a successful season. I know it's been a tough few weeks, really, especially with the international break, but also be back at the weekend. Fingers crossed we can meet Spurs and things can go in a positive direction. But thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like this video, do subscribe, share, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.